Hi, I'm Heather Ostertag, the president of Factor. We're sitting in the boardroom of Factor, which is the foundation assisting Canadian talent on recordings. We're based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Factor's a successful public-private initiative where we've got a combination of private radio broadcasters contributing to the organization, as well as managing funds on behalf of the Department of Canadian Heritage, which is a federal agency here in Canada. And with the blended funds, we're offering just over $12 million a year in financial assistance to support the development of Canadian artists, and everything from the very, very grassroots level where they're trying to do demos on through to the artists that are more successful and established, that have established themselves domestically, that are out there trying to make it in the international arena. And we provide the funding for the production of the sound recordings, the marketing and promotion of them, showcase and touring, video support. And we also support some of those collective initiative type things like award shows and what have you, where there's an opportunity to bring some top talent together and exploit it and make it all work. The history of Factor is we started in 1982 with a budget of about $200,000 exclusively from private radio. In 1985, there was another organization called the Canadian Talent Library, and it merged with Factor. Then in 1986, they were able to successfully convince the Government of Canada to start investing some dollars in the music industry, and it's just evolved from there. It's Canadian artists. They could be living abroad and still access the funding. But it's if you're going into production, for example, say you're a Canadian artist living in Nashville, well, you would have to come back to Canada to produce your recording because we're covering Canadian costs incurred in Canada using Canadians. We've got a two-tier system for determining, and I wouldn't call it a subsidy, I would call it an investment, okay? One is a peer assessment where you've got at the very grassroots level, you've got people that are experienced in certain genres of music coming in and assessing that genre of submissions. The other way is that once you establish yourself with a proven track record, we don't have you go through that peer assessment. You can have what we title direct board approval, which means you meet the criteria, so you don't have to have the creative decision made, but the business decision still will be made by the board of directors. It's a funnel effect because we've just had a deadline, for example, and there was about 675 submissions that came in. So they're going to get broken down by genre. And we will have genre juries taking place coast to coast to coast because we're affiliated with the provincial music industry associations throughout Canada. They will call in between 3 and 5 people to sit on a genre jury and listen to anywhere from 12 to 15 submissions and go yay or nay, we think it should get funding. For those applications that get 2 yeses at the genre level, they would then move to what we call the super jury, where you get the la creme de la creme of the jurors sitting in a room representing all the genres, and it's the best of those. What they take into consideration is the music, the marketing and promotion plan. They'll also take into consideration who's going to be working on your project. Is it going to be self-produced, or are you bringing in a good outside producer? They'll look at your previous track record. And, do you have distribution or don't you? And they look at everything except the financial. The financial is exclusively the responsibility of the board of directors. We get repaid on units sold worldwide for a period of 2 years following the domestic release. We take a royalty of 50 cents a unit. At the end of the 2 years, anything not repaid, we would just forgive. But the fact of the matter is most records don't have a 2-year shelf life. So we're taking it beyond, but that's recognizing that you build something domestically, but by the time you get it out into the international arena, if we haven't been repaid on it, chances are it's not going to happen. No, we don't do the blanket funding to a label. It's project by project. Everything is here. The Canadian Heritage has created a new program called the Music Entrepreneur Component, and they're doing it for the overall label, but at Factor, it's individual projects one at a time. Who knows? It's doing whatever needs to be done to get the job done. It's liaising with the government, it's liaising with the broadcasters, the board of directors, the music industry. The really cool part of my job is having the opportunity to listen to what the industry is saying they need and trying to help evolve our programs so that they stay responsive, which is a real challenge right now because everything is moving very, very rapidly. Being accountable and transparent and letting people know how Factor works and that it is an organization that you can come to and you can trust. That's a lot of what I do, and inspiring the team here to want to come in and do a good day's work, because it can be very, very challenging when, you know, you talk about a 35% approval rate. Well, that's a 65% no. So you got 65% of the people disappointed and upset. And you hear everything from, you wouldn't know a head if it fell out of the sky and hit you on the head, to we're evil. You know, it's challenging working here because you are disappointing a lot of people. So I hang on dearly to that other story of validation, because that's what Factor does. My mother played the accordion. It's like, and she was a big fan of country music. She didn't take it up professionally because she was a mother. So I had it. I have no talent. I'm forbidden to sing in the shower or anything like that, but I have a real passion for it. I really believe in it. I was fortunate enough to trip into the industry, and it was like, I love it, I'm not leaving. And that's 29 years ago, so. In the music industry, I started out as the receptionist here. I have done it all. I'm really the kid with grade 11 education. I'm textbook on what, my own CV reads textbook on why I shouldn't have the job. But in spite of it, and just in believing, and I think my passion has taken me a really, really long way, and not being afraid to say, I don't know, but I'll find out. I'll go learn. It's been incredible. This has been the best career decision I've ever made. I've worked in other industries, and by far, this is the best. Yeah. I mean, I've got to travel all throughout Canada, the world. Hell, I've been given the Order of Canada for the work that I've done. It's like, doesn't get much better than that. If you want to apply to Factor for funding, you've got three options. You can call us and we can mail you an application form, or you can go to our website and download it, or you can go to our website and actually complete it online and submit it. And you'll normally, with a lot of the applications, you'll have to send in additional materials. We want to see your marketing plan. You know, the evaluation process wants to see actual photos of what do you look like. Do you have a professional shot, or do you have that strip shot of the, 4 pictures in the mall? And you'd be surprised how many do that. And it does impact, because if they don't know that, it's an indicator. Artists need to really understand that they need to know the business of music. The talent isn't just enough. I hear it everywhere around me all the time. Oh, well, the artists are almost treated like they're disposable, because that one's okay, well, next. So they need to do their research and understand, and it tells our jurors where they're sitting in the food chain by the kind of package they submit. So they send that in manually at the present time, and they have to have done their research, because I think the most important part of what Factor offers is they have to complete the budget. So even if you weren't going to be applying to Factor for any money, but you're going to be doing a recording, our budget has got every line item imaginable. So it's a place to start to think about, what do I need? How much is it really going to cost? I'm not just going to go in the studio and get started, but how much is it actually going to cost? And that's a tool available to anybody in the world. Same thing for tours, for a video, the marketing and promotion. It's all there. So use it as a tool for yourself, even if you don't want to come for the money. The ones that do well and succeed are the ones that usually come in with the intelligent, responsible budgets, with realistic goals and plans. Instead of trying to go from 0 to 60, they're going, okay, I'm going to go from 0 to 20, and then I'll go 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and they're building on something. A lot of times people think it takes a lot of money to make a great recording. No, if you plan it properly, it doesn't take as much money. What's missing for a lot of artists is the understanding that there should be a relationship between how much money are you spending on the production of your recording and how much do you think you can realistically sell. And try to put your production budget to be realistic to what your sales can be. And then also adding in, you've got to double that on what you're going to be putting into the marketing and promotion. So the ones that and you can see it's there because they're careful with it. They got a better chance because a lot of them, I got $100,000, and they'll blow the whole $100,000 in the studio. And it was like, well, what about artwork? What about mastering? What about your CD release? We're looking at starting we've just done a whole review of Factor, and we're starting to do more workshops. To sit down and do one-on-ones with us would be physically impossible because they come from across the country, and it's cost prohibitive to get out there doing that. But we meet with as many as we possibly can. We attend all conferences and seminars where we're asked to be there so that they can put the face to Factor. I think that's really important.